Raptors Digest, what's up and welcome. This is my game recap. I go through it pretty quickly. I give you my 5 takeaways, and I gotta remind you that Ben and Riker, they're doing their typical post game where they break down in depth what happened tonight in this 102-101 loss for the Toronto Raptors at home. That was full of excitement, drawbacks, things to be happy about, things to be upset about. It was a really mixed emotions game that obviously ended in the favor of the Cavaliers. So tough pill to swallow for the Toronto Raptors, but I'm going to give you my version of what I saw out there tonight. So basically, I felt like the Raptors got out to the ideal start. Really, they came out jets going, and they kept the lead pretty much until the very last minute when Darius Garland put them away at the free throw line, and then we weren't able to convert on the last minute shot there. So the Raptors played overall a really good game. Khem Birch has continued to impress. People are starting to call for Chris Boucher's head. Unfortunately, they want him traded. Not really in agreement with that, but he didn't play great either. OG was looking like a legit top dog. Him and Trent Jr. are just such a sweet little duo to have as wings. I mean, Trent plays a little bit of shooting guard, but him and OG, dominant wing players in my opinion. And then Fred VanVleet, not the perfect game, but I mean, he goes out there and he does his steady Freddy thing. I think he was still solid. 18 points for him. Missed a pretty bad shot there that I wasn't a fan of him taking, but nonetheless, it's one of those ones that if it goes in, you say nothing because you live and die by your shooter, and Fred VanVleet is definitely a shooter for us. But without further ado, I'm going to get into my first takeaway of the game tonight. So my first takeaway, Trent Jr., he's all defense, man. I heard someone in the chat saying Depoy. That might be a little bit far-fetched, but statistically, maybe not even at this point. Trent Jr., I think, is on a rate where if he's not an all-defensive team player in the NBA, it's a rig. It's disappointment. It's rigged is what I meant to say. There's just no way that he's not going to reach that level. Tonight, he records 6 steals, 2 blocks, and this defensive play of Gary is so timely. He got a game-winning steal against Orlando, which ended up in a win for the Raptors. He almost does the same thing tonight on Colin Sexton, but unfortunately goes out of bounds, and apparently Evan Mobley kicked the ball. I didn't get the clear replay on that, but either way, Gary has his hands all over the ball, and he's doing it at the most important times for the Raptors. Shouts out Trent Jr. He deserves to be all defense at the end of this year. Takeaway number 2.
I don't even know where you sit, man.
Adversity. As I just said, the refs were not going in our favor all night. It seemed like as the game progressed, things with the refs got worse and worse. We had a few unlucky bounces. I mean, Jared Allen hitting a lucky bank 3. That was at the end of a shot clock possession. Great defense. And it was at a really, really critical point in the fourth quarter. These are things that don't naturally happen, but they can happen. So you need to prepare for them and control the things within your control. And the Raptors didn't do a great job of that tonight. So when bad luck hit, we ended up with a losing verdict of this game. So needing to play through adversity is definitely a takeaway for me personally on this game. Takeaway number 3. Khem Birch continues to impress. All of our centers have been, subject to a ton of ridicule from the fan base, which I think is understandable in a lot of cases. Chris Boucher has underperformed, especially compared to what he was last year. And then Precious Achiuwa, I'm not worried about him, but yeah, he's had some rough moments, and but you know what, even he didn't play atrocious tonight. But Khem Birch has been the saving grace at the 5 spot for the Raptors. He's just timely. He gets in there and crashes the boards. He got so fired up when Scotty Barnes put back that basket. I love his energy. He's doing everything the Raptors ask him to do, and he cleans up on offense decent enough to stay out there for prolonged minutes. He's really saving us at the 5 spot. Shout out Khem Birch, Montreal's finest. He's been a diamond in the rough for us and continued to impress. Number 4. Let's get right to it. Battle of the Rooks tonight. Scotty Barnes puts up 14, 10, and 4, whereas Mobley puts up 18, 5, and 2. So pretty good games from both of them. This was really the hyped up, anticipated part of the game, and I'd say it delivered. Scotty Barnes just had an unstoppable first half. He was pulling up from mid-range and just draining everything, looking really, really poised. Obviously, his first game back from injury. We had our bet tonight. You can see up there, I bet Scotty Barnes to get his assist tonight. He did that for me. Shout out Trent Jr. too. He hit at least 3 3-pointers, so the bet cashed. We are hot. One winning streak ends. The betting streak continues. That's 3 straight bets that we've hit, but moving on, the Rooks, they really, really blew the roof off the place tonight. Scotty Barnes, like I said, a quiet second half, but him and Mobley were consistent all game, and it's tough to believe these kids are rookies. Scotty Barnes had a chance to get the last bucket of the game to win it, just missed the putback, but to me, it was more impressive that at that critical moment, he was able to avoid being boxed out by the Cavs, get in there, and really what should have been a putback basket for the Raptors. I just love the fact that he got in there, thought to get up and almost got the opportunity. So shout out Scotty Barnes. I think that he played a really great game despite falling off in the second half collectively with the Raptors. And then for my final point, ladies and gentlemen, takeaway number 5, protect home court. That's my takeaway. You're undefeated on the road and against some decent teams, but you come back to home and it's just like I don't know. The last season we spent down in Tampa, we attributed so many of those losses to, this is energy players. We need our crowd, yada, yada, yada. Well, you're at home and you're 2-4 and then 3-0 on the road. So I just feel like home court, you need to prove that it is the advantage, that it truly is, and go out there and improve that record, because tonight we let one slip through our finger cracks that I think we really should have had. We got to improve that home court record. That's what I feel was a big takeaway from this game. But guys, let me know what you think the takeaways were. As always, I'll remind you to go check out Ben and Riker's post game where they do the in-depth chat with everyone in our community, really break down and analyze the game. The live streams have been a ton of fun. Hope to get more and more people in there. And like I said, comment your thoughts. This was an absolute heartbreaker of a game, but definitely made for an entertaining live stream. I appreciate you guys as always. Continue to keep coming around and tuning in. I'm signing off.